So you know you need to be creating great video content to grow your business, but every time you get in front of a camera, you feel a little like this.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
So I'm going to show you how you can look like a boss on camera so that you can create amazing videos easily. Even if you're awkward, you hate public speaking, or you just aren't sure how to make your videos look good. Once I figured out this system, I'm now able to rip through a weekly video in 30 minutes or so of filming, and posting video consistently has not only gotten us more traffic and engagement with our brand and more clients, but it's helped us build up our credibility faster than any other method out there. Now, you don't need any fancy equipment or technical skills to make this work. So stay with me, and by the end, you'll know exactly how to start creating amazing videos with very little effort. The first thing you're going to want to determine is how you want to script out your videos. Are you more of an off-the-cuff type and you feel comfortable with a bullet point list to guide you? Or do you prefer to script every word from beginning to end? Either way, I would suggest pre-planning your videos and giving them structure, even if you are really good off the cuff, because you don't want to get on camera and start rambling. It not only makes it super hard for your audience to follow you, but it also makes it harder for you in the editing process. So at the very least, have an idea of what you're going to say and the points that you want to make. I personally prefer to script my videos out so that when I get in front of the camera, there's no thought needed. This also makes it really easy for me to then convert my videos into blog posts later on. Which reminds me, I release new videos every week and they're always packed with actionable insights to grow your business. So if you want the latest on that, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And as always, if you're getting any value from this video, please hit that thumbs up button so that I know what kind of content to create in the future. So I use a teleprompter that connects right to my camera lens that you can get for about $100 on Amazon. I simply put my iPhone in it and I use this app to paste my script to it, and then I hit record. If you don't have a DSLR camera though, you can use the selfie mode on any of these teleprompter apps on your phone that'll allow you to film as you read from your script. The key to this though is not trying to memorize your script or your notes. That's a ton of extra work and completely unnecessary. More on that in a minute. But next, the big question is, do I need a fancy camera? And you definitely do not. If you have a recent iPhone or probably even an Android, which if you do, I'm sorry, you have a world-class camera built right in. And even most laptops these days have a pretty good webcam that's built into them. But if you want to buy a DSLR camera, Sony a7 or Canon Rebels are great choices. No matter what you're filming on, the important part is having great audio. Viewers can forgive bad lighting or a blurry video a lot easier than bad audio. And the only piece of equipment I highly recommend that you do purchase is some kind of professional microphone. Now, if you're mostly shooting your videos in a designated space, like an office or at your desk, consider a condenser microphone like this one, which I upgraded, but my previous one at the time of this video was only about 56 bucks. Or you can purchase a lavalier mic that you'd wear on your shirt and you'd plug it right into your phone or camera. And the key though is not to rely on the native audio capture in your phone or your camera, because this will instantly take your videos from amateur to pro status when you have an external microphone. Now, if you're using your phone, you can consider finding a phone tripod so that you're hands-free. Although if you're shooting shorter videos, 3 minutes or less, you can always hold it and shoot it in selfie style. Now, if you're an iPhone user, you'll need to adjust your camera settings so that you'll have your footage in the right dimensions to edit later on. So just go into your settings, scroll down until you find camera, click camera, then record video, and choose 4K at 24 frames per second. In terms of lighting, it's helpful to make sure that you're well lit. But again, you don't need to go and purchase professional lighting. Now, the easiest way to do this is to use natural light. So if you happen to have a big window in your house or your office, face the window as you film. If you're outside, make sure that the sun is behind you so that you're not squinting into the camera. Now, if you don't have the luxury of relying on natural light or you're filming at night, try to avoid overhead lighting indoors. You can use lamps that you have around the house and put one about 45 degrees off to the side of the camera right in front of you. I have one right here. Or you can always purchase one of these things, these clamp lights, for pretty cheap from Home Depot. You just want to make sure to put some sort of diffusion over it for a softer, better looking light. Use a piece of parchment paper and a clothespin. Now, if you want to invest in something a little higher grade, check out this pair of standing lights from Newer, which is what I use, and consider getting a diffuser or softbox to put over it. Again, it's totally not necessary or required for you to be able to create great videos. All right, so now we've got our setup. Camera, lighting, and audio taken care of. Now we're ready to film. The idea with this method is to hit record once, shoot your video in one take, and move on to the next one. Perfectionism here will kill you, and it's what prevents so many entrepreneurs from creating great video content on a regular basis. Whether you're using bullet point notes, an outline, or a teleprompter with your script, the way to look confident on camera, no matter what, is using what I call the chunk method. So all you have to do is be able to get out a few words in a row, or a sentence or two. That's That's it, and repeat. It doesn't matter how many times you stutter, mess up, forget where you are, or stumble over your words. That's the beautiful thing about this. So just hit record and begin going through your outline or script. Take it a chunk at a time, whether that's 5 to 7 words, a full sentence, or a full paragraph, or just a single thought. If you mess up, just pause for 3 seconds and start back over at the top of that chunk or idea. The key though is to pause for at least 3 seconds in between any mess ups, and this will also allow you time to look back at your notes and grab the next chunk so that you can film the entire thing without having to memorize a single idea and film it all in one take. Okay, great. So we've got this mess of a video with you stumbling over your words, pausing every 20 seconds, and repeating things over and over. What can we do with that? Here's the secret. Great videos are made in the edits. If you've ever watched the director's cut of your favorite movie, the storyline was probably dramatically different from the original edit. Although that director's cut might bring in additional footage or shots that weren't necessarily included in the original, all of that footage was shot at once when the film was in production. In other words, that director didn't go out and shoot extra stuff to include in the new version. Both versions of the film just use the footage that was available to them, and they use it in different ways in the editing process. And you can do the exact same thing with your video in the editing process, even if you're not technically inclined. You can use a software like iMovie, which comes standard and is free if you're an Apple user, or for a nominal monthly fee, you could use something like Adobe Premiere Pro. Either way, the process is exactly the same no matter what software you're using. So first, import your video and audio into your chosen editing software. So right now, I'm in Adobe Premiere Pro. You can see the audio file in a visual waveform here, and notice all the gaps. Those are the pauses I made. Go through and cut out all of the pauses that you see. Next, go back through the footage and take out any mistakes or times where you repeated a chunk. Choose the best version and cut the rest. What you'll end up with are jump cuts. Jump cuts are an amazing editing trick to hide any mistakes or jump from thought to thought. So take a look at this YouTube video here.
To maintain a level of energy, I think it kind of adds to the production quality of my videos. And since we live in a day and age where everyone's attention spans are like 0.4 seconds, it kind of helps to cut out the ums and the buts or the dead air time of your script or your videos, so that you don't have just like empty space. Like, people want to stay in tune to your content.
Now, if I hadn't have called it to your attention, you likely wouldn't have noticed all the jump cuts. It helps the video flow better and it keeps you engaged as the viewer. So once I've got all the mistakes, fillers, pauses, ums and ahs, and I've got all that out of the way, I've got my jump cuts in, I can then go back and add keyframing or crop ins and crop outs to give my video another level of credibility. I can use this to emphasize any particular point or when I'm switching thoughts or transitioning to the next part of my video. Next up, we're going to utilize what's called B-roll in your videos to heighten your storytelling. B-roll is footage of the things that you're talking about or other scenes that relate. You can film this yourself. So for example, if you're talking about your dog in your video, you can film your dog and cut that footage into the part where you're talking about him. Likewise, if you're doing a tutorial or discussing how to do something, like I'm doing in this video, you might want to include an actual screen share of you clicking through the software and talking through it. You can use something like loom.com, and there's a ton of other softwares out there as well, which will allow you the option to put your face on the screen at the same time. Or you can use sites that have stock footage. Some are free and others you can pay for. So lastly, you might want to add in text or headlines throughout your video in order to emphasize the points that you're making. Now, all in all, at the end of the editing process, you have a video that makes you look like the expert you are. So we can go from this to keep their employees, and yes, they create to this. Make sure they're a good fit for the job and reduce costly hiring mistakes so you can scale your agency. Now, the biggest problem most entrepreneurs face is time, and editing takes a ton of time. It's also extremely tedious, and it can take you a few videos to figure out the software and the how-to. So it's estimated that for every 1 minute of footage, it requires an hour of editing, and that's for professional editors. You should be focusing your efforts and resources on creating the content, on writing the scripts, on coming up with the ideas, and not on the editing part of it. In the time it takes you to edit one 10-minute video, let's say it even takes you half the average of a professional editor. So 30 minutes to edit 1 minute of footage, that's now 5 hours that you spend on editing alone. And in that time, you could have researched, written, and filmed your next 2 or 3 videos. Time is something you can never get back. So if you can trade a little bit of money to multiply your time, the investment is always worth it, which is why you should find an editor to handle everything for you from after you hit that record button. Most YouTubers or content creators are limited by editing their own videos, and this is the number one reason they aren't consistent with their content, and ultimately, when they're not consistent, they're not getting the results that they want. So I know what you're thinking at this point. I don't have the budget to hire a fancy editor. And on average, you're right, a professional editor can run you anywhere from $50 to $100 plus an hour. This is definitely not feasible for most businesses, and honestly, it's not really a great use of your resources. But instead, I can look to hire outside of the US and find equal or better talent for a couple of dollars an hour because of the purchasing power of the US dollar. So just like if I moved to Costa Rica, my $2,000 a month is gonna go much, much further than that same amount would in the US. So I could barely pay a mortgage in the States with that, but I could get amazing beachfront property, a maid, and nightly steak dinners for that in Costa Rica. So I can find great talent that will be making the equivalent of that $50 an hour in their home country, while I incur a fraction of that cost. The easiest way to do this is to go to something like Fiverr.com or Upwork and search for a video editor. Now you'll see thousands of options with different price points, and after working with a few, you should be able to find someone that you trust and that you can lean on consistently. Somebody that learns your style and your brand and that you can continue to work with day in and day out. So now you've got killer videos for your business to help you build credibility, authority, and bring in clients. And we want to be able to get the most out of each and every video we create, get the most views, reach, and engagement from them for the time that we've invested in creating them. So be sure to check out my other video for a tutorial on how to repurpose that video content into your next 60 days of social media posts with no extra effort on your part. Now you know how to be confident on camera and create amazing videos easily, but do you know how to create the right content to attract your perfect clients? How to make sure that that content is actually converting to revenue for you, and how to automate 95% of this process? Check out my free training where I walk you through this step by step, and I show you exactly how you can use your video content to generate an additional 10K per month or more for your business over at get.upperhandcreative.com/learn. And if you want our team to edit your videos for you, head over there and book a free strategy call with us where I'll show you how you can implement this strategy in your own business right now. So comment down below and let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this video, and I'll see you next time.